Welcome to Techstination. Joining us is Sharon Hong, Vice President of Enterprise Technology at Motorola Solutions. Thanks for joining us, Sharon.
Thanks for having me.
You're involved in helping companies, helping people to stay safe during COVID-19 using technology. Give us a little overview of what you've been doing.
Sure. With COVID cases on the rise, schools and businesses continue to face challenges when it comes to protecting our health and that of our children. And really where technology comes into play is that it can take the guesswork out of managing some of these challenges, such as minimizing the number of people who are in a given space, making sure that people are wearing face masks and that they're social distancing, and that people who are sick are staying at home. And at the end of the day, the technology can help people just have a little bit of peace of mind as they return to elements of life during a pandemic.
So give us some examples of the kinds of technology that you're employing, and I guess others are employing too, to be of assistance.
Sure. At Motorola Solutions, we focus on creating technologies that help keep you safe. And so the solutions that we're talking about here use a combination of video, analytics, and automatic alerting to make sure that those who are responsible for our safety are getting information in a timely manner. So for example, cameras can detect whether people are wearing face masks or if they're social distancing, and then automatically alert those who are responsible for our safety when those policies aren't being adhered to. Another good example that I think about is when, the other day I was at a botanical garden and, I was walking by the gift shop and I saw a lady standing outside with a clicker. And as she was clicking to count the number of people who are coming in and out of the building, I thought about how that clicker works pretty well for that gift shop. But imagine if she was tasked with counting the number of people who are in a large building or across several buildings on a campus. That would be a pretty daunting task. And so by putting cameras in front of the entrances and exits of buildings, these cameras can automatically detect how many people are in a given space, report that in real time, and help us prevent overcrowding.
Interesting. And there are other things that you can do too, I understand. One of them is to use cameras to sense whether or not people have a fever, a temperature.
Yeah, that's right. If we've all, well, maybe not all of us, but I know I've gone into a building and had my temperature taken by an employee at the entrance of that building. And, rather than subjecting an employee to having to come into or interact with every single person that comes through the door and hold their thermometer up to their forehead, thermal technology can be used as a safe, contactless alternative to traditional methods to automatically take the temperatures of people as they're going into the building.
It's interesting, and I guess the technology has to be pretty sophisticated to know who you're dealing with if people are wearing face masks. How are you able to get around that? If you do send somebody who has a fever and they are wearing a face mask, you're still able to identify the person or track the person?
You're able to get an alert when that happens, and then it would be on the responsibility of staff to come around and talk to that individual about and take the action that's needed to either ask the person to go home or ask them to put a face mask on or ask them to stay socially distanced. But certainly it would take staff or an employee to act upon the information that they receive from these solutions.
And as workplaces continue to reopen and such, you can also assist when it comes to things like contact tracing?
Absolutely. There's contact tracing technology really can help in this instance because it can help us identify the people and surfaces that an infected individual has come into contact with within minutes rather than hours or days of trying to call and interview people around who they've come into contact to. And because we can save so much time, it can help us also prevent the spread more quickly and ideally help keep schools and businesses open as a result.
There's another area that I saw on your website that sounds pretty interesting. The idea of creating a private LTE network for companies or schools that do have people working or learning from home. Tell me about that.
Yeah, a lot of, depending on the school and the district and the municipality that you're in, certainly there are schools and school districts that have needs as we've gone and returned to remote learning, where students have a need for getting that broadband connection to do that remote learning. And yes, we've got these private LTE solutions that can provide wide area coverage across an entire district, just the way you do with with your broadband carrier today, so that we can enable them to do their remote learning in places where they might not get coverage or may not be able to have a broadband connection. And it certainly is part of how we respond to this pandemic, slightly different from safety, but enabling our students to learn at a time when they need it most.
Now that has been an issue, the ability of all students to have access to the internet, which can sometimes be a really expensive thing for a household.
Absolutely, yes.
So tell us about some of the concerns that people might have about privacy when it comes to the technologies and the cameras that are essential to being able to do some of the things you're talking about.
Yeah, the focus of these solutions really is focused on not only keeping people safe, but around enhancing the safety operations that are already in place by schools and in businesses. And, I just think about how we're getting to about 2 weeks now where we've had consecutive days of over 100,000 cases being reported. And again, really, it's about getting the right information to those who are responsible for our safety, so they can make the right decisions around how to help us mitigate the impacts of the pandemic.
And how do you address people who are concerned about is my privacy being violated?
I think, we're in unprecedented times right now, and it's important to make sure that the data that we need to keep people safe is available to us. So we talked about contact tracing, for example, leveraging technology to help us quickly identify, people and surfaces, really helps us, reduce the amount of time to address some of the issues that are happening. And so it's so important to have this information to really prevent the spread.
Right. We've heard time and again from some of the experts how important the time factor is here. So for more information, where can people go?
For more information, you can go to motorolasolutions.com/COVIDtech to find out more.
Sharon Hong, thank you so much for taking the time with us, and stay safe.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now this. It takes a lot of listening to build a better radio, and that's just what the folks at C. Crane have done. Bob Crane and his crew, nestled among the rivers and tallest trees in the world in Fortuna, California, have made a habit of listening to their customers. And that's just what they've done in building the CC Skywave SSB, the Swiss Army knife of portable radios. For everyday listening to AM or FM in the yard or patio or on the nightstand, without having to drain a mobile phone battery, it's a great companion. But it is also a companion equipped for NOAA weather information and alerts that can be life-saving. You can listen to FEMA and Coast Guard transmissions too. Beyond all of that, you can tune into shortwave signals from around the world. It's compact, easy to take with you, and built to last. The CC Skywave SSB. Click on the link at Techstination.com.